One of the most important things you can do when taking kids out on the water is keep their interest. Find ways to engage them. Have them pick out colors, scents. Ask them where they should cast. What type of bait should they be using? So today, we're just gonna target regular old rainbow trout that have been stocked here in this lake and try and show them a good day on the water. When fishing with young anglers, the best thing to do is focus in on simplicity. So today, we're really only using two different style of techniques. The first one that I'm gonna show you is bobber and jig. It's the exact same setup like what we use for steelhead. So what we have is a 6 to 7 foot long rod with a smaller size reel. This one here is about 1,000 or 1,500 size. And this is 6-pound Maxima Ultra Green for our main line, down to our slip bobber, exactly like what we use for salmon and steelhead. And this one here is just an 1/8 ounce fish field bobber, down to an inline weight, 1/8 ounce as well. And then 18 to 24 inches of 5-pound Ultra Green to our little maxi jig. And this is the exact same maxi jig that I use a lot for steelhead, just smaller. This one here is 1/32 ounce, and you can use them this size or even up to 1/16 ounce. Now what I also do with this jig is add on a little piece of night crawler. So instead of running just a plain old bobber and a jig or just a bobber and a worm, I'm adding them both together. And the reason why is because these trout are thieves. They can easily steal your bait without you knowing. So what we do is when we add on the worm onto the hook, just like so. Of course, it adds a little bit of flavor, a little bit of scent for them, but if they do end up taking that worm off, we still have the jig that they will come back and react to. So they never totally pick us clean. We still have something down there that we can catch them on. The second setup that we're using here today is the exact same rig that we used to use when we were younger, how we all started out trout fishing, power bait on the bottom. Now this setup is pretty similar to what we were using with the bobber and jig. Now the little twist that I have added in for fishing power bait on the bottom is actually a technique that I learned from Buzz Ramsey. So our leader first is anywhere from 12 to 24 inches, depending upon how far off the bottom you want your bait to sit. And especially if you have weeds or grass that you're trying to get your bait above, a little bit longer leader will be helpful. But now that little trick that Buzz showed me, adding a corky right above your hook. So why would you add a corky above your hook? Well, there's actually many reasons for that. One, it allows you to use less power bait. Yes, power bait already floats, but now I can use less power bait so the hook points will stay exposed and get a better hook set on these fish. What that also does is it makes your power bait sit horizontal in the water column as opposed to straight up and down. And this allows the fish to come up and bite that hook a little bit easier too. You get a cleaner hook set on these fish. Now I'm going to add in some sherbet colored power bait. And again, because we have the corky, we don't need too much of it. Let's take a little bit here and you just wrap it around the hook and just barely enough to get it to float along with that corky so it sits parallel to the bottom. And now we're all set.